In today's lesson, we are going to learn how to identify a significant figure and how to round to 1, 2 and 3 significant figures. You will have been successful today if you can round to any given number of significant figures. Okay, so we'll begin with identifying what a significant figure is. So there's a few rules to identifying a significant figure, and the first rule is that any non-zero number is a significant figure. So what I mean by that is any number that is not a zero is a significant figure. So 1, 4, 2, 5 has all non-zero numbers, therefore that has 4 significant figures. Rule 2, trap zeros are always significant, and that is zeros that lie between two non-zero numbers. So looking at some examples of this, 10425 has 5 significant figures because we identify all our non-zero ones, and then we see that a zero lies between, which is also significant. Okay, so that is 5. And even though this is 4 zeros between two non-zero numbers, they all count as significant. So in this case, we have 8 significant figures. Rule 3 says that leading zeros are never significant. So zeros that lie before any non-zero numbers are never significant. For example, 0.10425 has 5 significant figures because leading zeros are non-significant, so we forget about that. We've got our 4 non-zero numbers and we have a trapped zero, which rule 2 says is also significant. And again, in this next example, if we get rid of the leading zeros and we underline the non-zero numbers, this has 4 significant figures. Okay, so rule 4 is split into 2 parts. It is about trailing zeros. So trailing zeros are never significant at the end of a whole number, and that is zeros that lie after a non-zero number. So 1425000 has 4 significant figures. Rule 1 says that these 4 are significant. There are no trapped zeros, and rule 4a says that trailing zeros are never significant at the end of a whole number. This is a whole number, so they are not significant. In this case, we have our 1, 2, 3, 4 non-zero numbers. We have our 2 trapped zeros as well, and it is a whole number, so the trailing zeros are not significant. Therefore, we have 6 significant figures. And the last rule is that trailing zeros are always significant in a decimal number because they show the level of accuracy of that number, okay? So they are significant here. So let's look at this number. This is a whole number, so the trailing zero is not significant. So this has 1, 2, 3, 4 significant figures. Now, as soon as I add in a decimal point and 2 zeros after that, that changes the number of significant figures. It changes the level of accuracy to 2 decimal places now, okay? So we do need to account for this. Now our trailing zeros are significant. Even though it is the same number, it has a different number of significant figures. All of those digits there are significant. In this number, our leading zero never counts. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 non-zero numbers. Rule 1 says that they are significant, and Rule 4b says that because this is a decimal, the trailing zero is also significant. In this one here, leading zeros are not significant. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 non-zero numbers. We have our 2 trapped zeros, so this one has 6 significant figures. Okay, so let's go through a few more examples then of identifying significant figures. So number 1 is nice and easy. They're all non-zeros. They all count as significant. So this one has 3 significant figures. In B, first of all, our non-zero numbers are always significant. Leading zeros are never significant, so again this has 3 significant figures. In part C, our 2 non-zero numbers are always significant. Trailing zeros in a whole number are never significant, so we can forget about them. This has 2 significant figures. And in our last one here, leading zeros are never significant. We have our 2 non-zero numbers, we have a trapped zero, and we know that trailing zeros are significant in a decimal. So that also counts to give us 4 significant figures. Okay, so rounding to significant figures. if you find rounding to decimal places easy, you should be alright with this as well. The hardest part is identifying where the significant figures are. So rounding to one significant figure, we must identify the first and second significant figure. So like when we done decimal places, we spoke about the first and second decimal place being important. It's the same with significant figures. So let's identify all of the significant figures in A. So A, they're all non-zero numbers. There are 5 significant figures there. Our first and second are these two here. So we only want that to have one significant figure. We have a 6 at the start, that is our first significant figure. The 7 is going to tell us whether we have to round up to a 7 at the start or whether we keep it the same. Since 7 is greater than 5, we change this 6 at the front to a 7. Now it is not enough just to leave it like that. If I leave it like that, that is a totally different number from 67,187. So I need to replace all of the whole numbers there with zeros. Remember, trailing zeros are not significant in a whole number, so it's not going to change the number of significant numbers. Okay, so I replace all of the significant figures with zeros because they are non-significant. In part B, leading zeros are never significant, and I have these two here which are. So our first and second significant figure are these two. The 6 is greater than 5, so it's going to round the 5 in front up to a 6. I do not replace my 0 here because if I did, remember trailing zeros count as significant. Okay, so that would then give me 2 significant figures. It asks for 1. So in a decimal, I don't replace the zeros after it. I just leave it like that. And the last one here, we again have 4 significant figures. So our first two are here. 9 is greater than 5, so it's going to round the 2 up to a 3. And I replace any whole numbers with a 0. I do not replace my decimal points with a 0 or else that would give me 4 significant figures again, which I just want 1. Okay. Rounding to 2 significant figures, we identify the second and third significant figure. So in part A, we have these non-zero numbers to give me 4 plus the trapped 0 is 5. So the second and third are here and here. 9 is greater than 5, so it rounds a 0 in front of it up to a 1. So we keep the 2, the 1, and we replace all of the whole numbers with a 0. In part B, our leading zeros don't count. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Our second and third are here. 9 is greater than 5, so it's going to round the 5 in front of it up to a 6. Again, I don't replace my trailing zeros because they would count as significant, so this does now have 2 significant figures. And in the last one, we've got 5 significant figures. Our second and third are here. 1 does not round up, it keeps the number in front the same, so it's just 39, and we do not replace the decimal numbers with zeros. Okay, so rounding to 3 significant figures. This has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Our third and fourth are here. So 3 is the one that's going to decide what happens to the 6 in front. 3 is less than 5, so it keeps the 6 in front the same, sorry. So we then replace our whole numbers with zeros. In part B, leading zeros don't count. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So our third and fourth are here. 1 is less than 5, so it keeps the 5 in front the same. 0.765, we do not replace decimals with zeros. And on our last one here, leading zeros do not count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Second and third and fourth, sorry, are here. 9 does indeed round up. So it's going to have a chain effect. It's going to keep rounding up because remember we can't fit 10 in the one place. And it's going to then make this a 1. Okay, so it's going to have that chain effect where it rounds it up. Now we've been asked to round to 3 significant figures. Currently as that stands, that has got 1 significant figure. So to give it 3 significant figures, I am going to add 2 zeros in after the 1. Okay, now remember trailing zeros in a decimal do count as significant, so that there has 3 significant figures. Okay, so if you need to add zeros in to give it the significant figures, you do so. Sometimes they might ask you a wee trick question where they say round to 2 significant figures, and you can't, you can only round to 1, that's fine. But if you can give it the amount they're asking for, do that. Okay guys, that is all for today. Your work will be set in teams, and please ask for help if you need it. Bye.